A C3 exclusive.
What is up, Panther fans? Tony Dunn here with CarolinaCatChronicles.com. I'm here to talk about the injury bug, which is striking the Panthers. It's unrelentless. It's something that we've learned to deal with in many cases. We've learned to blame, and this year we're going to have to continue to talk about it. Ryan Kalil missed his fifth straight practice and is well on his way to missing his third consecutive game after waking up on game day of week 2 with a sore neck. The training staff worked with Kalil before the game to loosen the neck up, but then decided it would be best for him to sit out. Rivera afterwards assured that he didn't believe this was going to be related to Kalil's off-season shoulder surgery, though. Kalil played week 1, and the Panthers kept Newton clean. Since he's been absent, though, his brother Matt has allowed the most sacks in the league. A lot of attention was focused on Greg Olsen going out with a broken foot, but those watching Carolina closely have argued that Ryan Kalil's absence has been even more detrimental. Bill Voth from Panthers.com addressed Kalil's absence earlier this week, writing, "Many of you are wondering what else is keeping Kalil out. It really can't be something as simple as a crick in the neck, right? But think about the position Kalil plays," he wrote. "Now think about playing that position with a sore neck. Now think about the toll Kalil's body has taken over the past decade. Oh, and he's also less than a year removed from shoulder surgery." So here comes that shoulder surgery thing that Rivera told us not to worry about. He goes on to write this: "I really don't think they're going out of their way to hide something. It's likely just Father Time ticking louder." Now, Voth has no reason to speculate too much on the nature of Kalil's injury, but he also has some reason to minimize the severity of this kink. Kalil isn't practicing after missing 2 games, and Carolina's offense is looking like Swiss cheese while he's gone. So what the heck is going on here? A crick in the neck? Could it really just be as simple as my man slept on it wrong? Now, look, I get what Bill Voth is saying. Look, everybody's gotten that before. And boy, looking back, talking to your quarterback's got to be tough. But dang, can we pump this guy full of some muscle relaxers and get him back on the field? Ron Rivera was asked today about Kalil's progress, and he seemed optimistic, though. He did mention, though, this time he's coming off a shoulder surgery, which now seems to be a little more related than it was just last week. He did say, though, that Kalil is getting better and better each day and ensured things will be fine. So Carolina is out there, like he said, listening to the trainers, and boy, you gotta hope. Come on. Get that guy an Asian massage, give him some muscle relaxers, and get him back on the field. This cannot be just as simple as my man slept on is wrong. Look, I want to hear what your thoughts are on the Kalil injury. Do you think that this is something is just my man had a bad pillow, or is this related to the shoulder surgery this offseason? Go ahead and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, moving on, Daryl Worley is suffering from a strained pectoral muscle, according to Jordan Rodrigue of the Charlotte Observer. He won't play this Sunday, likely against the Patriots. You know, last week, Worley had some issues with a knee that was kind of bothering him, that kept him limited in practice. And now he's got an injury that could sideline him for at least a game. This puts pressure on an already thin secondary, leaving Kevon Seymour, who was recently acquired from the Bills, to move outside likely, and Munnerlyn to continue to man that nickel corner. You know, there's something to be said about Munnerlyn, who has been a little disgruntled in the past week. He only had 11 snaps, and you heard a little Adrian Peterson-like comment. I didn't come here for just 11 snaps. So we'll be watching to see how Seymour plays in Worley's absence. And look, Worley hasn't been a burner. He hasn't been a shutdown guy by any stretch of the imagination. But we've talked about how thin Carolina can be at secondary. So we'll have to monitor this closely. Kelvin Benjamin was back around and moving in practice after going down awkwardly in what could have been a really ugly knee injury. But fortunately, Ron Rivera reported that there was no major structural damage, and it looks like he could be ready to go against the Patriots. Another knee injury Deshaun Hall woke up with swelling in the knee yesterday, and it seems that these guys are just waking up hurt all the time. Kalil wakes up hurt. Now Deshaun Hall wakes up hurt. You know what this does is really just reminds us what a brutal game football is, and how these guys' bodies just take a beating each week. And each week really becomes about recovery just as much as it does become about practice. And nothing shows this more than Cam Newton, who with this new normal is being limited to practice, was limited in practice again. And the Panthers are being cautious, trying to help nurture that shoulder along. The question is this just being cautious, or is this him behind schedule? Is this soreness more than soreness? Cam Newton reported today that he felt much better this week than he did last week, but Bill Roth wrote the big issue is still soreness. You know, a story came out from Bleacher Report's Mike Freeman earlier this week that some team officials have mentioned there's some concern that Cam Newton is breaking down physically. You know, it seemed a rather general source, and I like Mike Freeman a lot. I dig that dude's kind of stance on football and life and things. But the way I read it, was so general. To me, it sounded like a team official that could be with a team other than the Panthers. So what do you guys think? Is Cam Newton's shoulder something to be very concerned about? Is this something like the ankle in 2014 that just lingers a little bit longer? These ideas that these guys just bounce back 100% is a little far-fetched. Go ahead and drop those comments below. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us an email or call the Carolina Cat Chronicles Cat Lines, 252-228-5098. We'll play that on the podcast on Tuesday nights. Now let's turn to Thomas Davis, who is also dealing with an injury. He was out there today going through walkthroughs and installations, but not practicing. Rivera was asked if Thomas Davis cracked a rib yesterday. He didn't deny it. No, he didn't, only stating he has a rib injury. And boy, I mean, really, Rivera, don't admit it if that's the case, because boy, they'll be coming after Thomas Davis, right? Those running backs will be lowering that helmet a little bit and aiming for those ribs. He's questionable for Sunday, and Rivera said that Davis always expects to play, but they'd have to see how it goes over the next day or so. I'd really expect to see a lot more Shaq Thompson this week, and that may not be a terrible thing, given the way that, you know, Thomas Davis didn't have his best game against the Saints in pass coverage, and now you got to go up against Gronkowski. We like to see Shaq Thompson, what he can do in that position, and this may be the opportunity to get him into more and more involved in the game plan without stepping on Thomas Davis's toes. Look, the Panthers were riddled with injury last season, and boy, has it been a tough start, losing Olsen, missing Ryan Kalil, and having that big scare with Benjamin. Carolina will have to muscle through all of this, and Cam Newton is the one that shoulders that responsibility most. Be sure to go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com for the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Smash that like button if you like what you hear, and give this show a share to grow Panther Nation, because you know we keep pounding.
Subscribe to the C3 Carolina Panthers podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, or anywhere you can catch an RSS feed. Check out CarolinaCatChronicles.com for the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective.
Great cash, homie.